So, to describe the different communication models that I've experienced in the two institutions with which I'm most familiar, I've worked for a large private urban, sort of suburban university, as well as a completely online university. And in the first, the larger university, more traditional, um, I was thinking about the lack of storytelling that goes on in that environment. We had several big changes come through, the biggest being the change in our student information system. And at my level, which is sort of that mid-level professional staff level within the university, I think there's a real need for communication from major stakeholders about the how and the why of a change like that, and why that's being implemented and what we can expect for outcomes, but mostly the why of the change and how it's going to impact us and what we are going to be asked to do and how we can contribute to the change to make it as successful as possible. So when it happened, there was not a lot of storytelling, at least with respect to what we're getting from the readings of the Denning book in particular, with examples of how this transition happens, how it goes at other places, and what it's like for the people involved. In the same institution, there are a lot more one-sided messages, as described by Lewis, where the information is any kind of big change information or employee impact information is presented from a very positive one-sided way. There isn't a lot of attention given to opposing viewpoints or questioning or thoughts about why something's being done, or even an inclusive attitude around the change or the messaging. There have been a lot of loss frames that I've experienced where this is happening, and if you don't participate, then you're going to get left behind, or other kinds of negative attributes. So I've experienced that type of communication, I would say, more than some of the more positive forms, where there's a gain frame or even a clear story about where we're going and what we're doing. And that was, again, at the traditional on-ground university. With respect to the online university, a lot of the communication was, the word that's coming to mind is duplicitous, mostly because of how things ended with the university closing down and all employees being released and it feeling very sudden, even though there had been some signs. There was very little communication around the closure, as well as there hadn't been any storytelling prior to that. The one time I did experience some very good communication was at the online university. We switched to a customer relationship management tool, and there was a vendor responsible for the project management of that implementation, and they did an amazing job with communication. There were different communication streams, there was different communication, there was engagement, there was outreach, there was clear description of timelines and deliverables, as well as explanations for when things got pushed or deadlines weren't quite made. It was a much, much richer communicative experience than I had previously been around. And that's a model that I would strive to follow going forward in my personal work around communications and being a change leader.